Hello, Internet. How are we this evening? Everybody's having a happy Friday. You made it. You made it. Wally World, good to see you. Yeah, I'm going to have to pry her away from the heater this time, Wally. I set the heater up right in front of her bed. She just sits there with her paws just right in front of the heater. She loves the damn thing. I don't know what to do. Scarlett, come say hi to Wally. No, come here. Yeah, you got to come say hi. It's part of the show. You're part of the routine. Come on. She's just pawing at me. All right. Oh, ball stomp. How is everybody doing this evening? This is Scarlett. If you haven't met her before, she's the star of the show. All right. We got a lot to get into. I have tons of stuff pulled up. I wanted to do a show directly after the whole bridge collapse, but I didn't want to go right on and just start blabbing until I learned as much as I could, at least. I have a theory, but I'm just some dude. Don't take my opinion with any weight at all. We're gonna go through everything that we know. We're gonna listen to some experts, and we're gonna see what other people are saying. And I'll kind of just leave it in your lap to make what you will of it. Orla, nice to see you. Yeah, she's cute, but she peed on her bed today. She refuses to go out in the rain. It's been pouring here all day, and she refuses to go out in the rain. So she peed on her bed. Yeah, it's great. So I put her bed out in the rain. So yeah. All right, Terry Wallace, nice to see you. It looks like X decided to up their monetization. My last X payment was like $47, and I hadn't been posting anything viral or anything like that since then. And all of a sudden I get a check for $280. How about that? Or $250? But I'm not complaining. I think that's might be the biggest one I've ever gotten. So pretty stoked about that. But I have a tinfoil theory on that one too, because there's what's his name? There's some dude decapitated his father. I just barely looked into it before the show. And then he went on to some base, I believe, and started trying to start a revolution or something like that. I haven't looked into it at all. Can't even remember his name, but apparently, the RGS, nice to see you. Apparently, if you search his name, it won't pop up. And people, Elijah Schaefer and Roz alerts apparently got demonetized. So I don't know what that's about, but as soon as I saw that, I was like, So Twitter ups their amount that they're going to pay out. People have been getting suspended more lately, it seems. And also those little flags all of a sudden are back that says people don't normally tweet like this, or people don't normally post like this. It's like, when did this happen again? That went away for a while. When you call somebody a bootlicker, which is what I've been doing, and when I noticed it, because I was calling somebody a bootlicker, and it says people don't post stuff like this. I was like, when did this come back? So I have a theory that they upped the monetization. This is just totally tinfoil theory here. They upped the monetization, and then they demonetized 2 major accounts in sort of a see, look what we can take away from you type thing to get us to censor ourselves. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. That's sort of my tinfoil theory. Anyway, somebody said you got paid for impressions too. Yeah. So you get the way I don't know how it works. Yeah. At first I heard it was just based on impressions. So I used to look at that a lot, but maybe now it has to do with how long when people go to your page, how long somebody stays on your page, it has to do with that. So maybe the fact that I do live streaming, maybe that's helping. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to censor myself, and I'm not going to post engagement bait either. I just kind of post the things that pop into my brain, and I just post them. Like I was going to do a post right before this saying that I've been putting random things in the refrigerator lately on accident. I don't know why. I put tortilla chips in the refrigerator the other day. Why'd I do that? I don't know why. It's been happening, and I'm a little concerned about it, to be quite frank with you. I hope I'm not getting Joe Biden syndrome. All right. Well, Terry Wallace, the RGS, Wally World, Orla, nice to see everybody. Let's get into some stuff, shall we? Oh, before we go, if you guys could hit that like button, always helpful. Like, retweet, repost, consider following, all that good stuff. All right. So let's just get right into some stuff. We're going to go over the whole bridge scenario. Everything that I could find about it, and I put it in sort of I am going to paint a narrative, but I'm not necessarily trying to convince you guys of anything. I'm going to tell you what I think, why I think it, and what everybody else is saying, and we'll just kind of go from there. So first things first, let's just go to the Wikipedia and the Francis Scott Key Bridge, right? Let me check something right quick here. Make sure I'm in the right view. I like this view better. Okay. So the Francis Scott Key Bridge. What is it, first of all? Well, who is Francis Scott Key? I'm not going to read his whole Wikipedia, but he was an American lawyer, author, and poet from Frederick, Maryland, known as the author and the text and the author of the text for the American national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. So, yeah, you wrote the Star Spangled Banner. That's got some historical significance to it. That got me thinking a little bit. And what happened right before that bridge got taken out? So I won't bury the lead. I didn't think terrorist attack. I didn't even think that the people driving the boat did it on purpose. The first thing that popped into my head is there was just this horrific attack on Russia, this horrible attack on Moscow where the armed gunmen went in and they killed over 100 people. Horrific. And I think they threw a Molotov cocktail. That's what caught the whole thing on fire. Horrific. And, well, I'm not going to play the videos. So, yeah, this is from my meme before I meme, therefore I am. It says several armed gunmen have forcibly entered the Crocus City Hall concert venue in Moscow, initiating gunfire and targeting everyone inside. Video footage depicts the assailants firing at both civilians, security personnel, with people in panic leaving the building. And they killed a lot of people. It's horrific. The video footage is absolutely horrific. I'm not going to play it, but you guys all heard about that. And my first thought was obviously Ukraine. Ukraine hired some gunmen to go carry this attack out, and we are funding Ukraine. So, with that thought in mind, I wasn't alone in thinking that. So, this is from Leading Report. Breaking: Chief of Russia's Federal Security Service claims that the United States, United Kingdom, and Ukraine collaborated to orchestrate the killing of nearly 140 individuals at a concert venue in the suburbs of Moscow last Friday. So that was put out March 26th. I believe that was right before our bridge went down. So when I saw that it was first thing I heard was that the Francis Scott Key Bridge, is that Francis Scott Key, right? Yeah, that the bridge collapsed. And then I watched the video. I was like, holy crap, a boat hit it. And that immediately got the tinfoil brain spinning. So my first thought was, could this be Russia? Could Russia have hacked into the boat and set it on course to hit the bridge? I never thought it was the actual people on the boat that were terrorists and decided to crash the boat. And yeah, I never thought terrorists. I mean, I guess you could classify it but I guess you'd classify that as terrorism if it was another country, but that's more of an attack on our nation if that's the case. So that was the first thought that entered my brain because of the timing, because of the historical significance of Francis Scott Key, and it also blocks off an entire port. Now, that port doesn't seem to be, I mean, every port's important, but it doesn't seem to be crucial to trade. But the idea in my head also started bouncing around that what if this is kind of like a proof of concept, and they had to, it wasn't so much that they were targeting that specific bridge, but they were targeting potentially some sort of software that they had access to, or yeah. that's sort of where my brain went with the whole thing. At the time, no, I had no proof, no evidence to support that. It's just where my brain went. So yeah, I'll keep going here. Now we're gonna get into some stuff. Well, let me check the chat here. Lots of strange things about this bridge, Wally. Yes, absolutely. Miss Cakes. I brought my purse with me to walk the dog. What did I do? Why did I do that? That's a big purse too. I don't know why you did that. I mean, I guess if your dog poops, you can pick up and tie the poop bag and put it in your purse. I tried to it's totally random. One time I decided I was going to make my dog carry her poop, and I tied it around her collar. The poop bag broke and she got poop all over her. It was terrible. That was my lab. That was Molly back in the day. Casey Martin, hello friends. Nice to see you. All right, we'll keep going. So I am not alleging that's what happened. I am not alleging that Russia attacked the boat and knocked down the bridge and blocked off the port and all that. I'm saying that's where my brain went. And is there any evidence to support that theory? Because yes, that is what it is, a theory. And I'm not even so much necessarily leaning in that direction, but you can't just dismiss it. You can't just dismiss it as no, there's no way that happened. So, all right, we'll keep going here. Let's keep going. Let's just get right into the, so let's watch the footage. So I'm sure you guys have all seen this a million times. This is the first footage that I saw, and it looks like it's one of those 24/7 live cameras that just points at the bridges. I mean, most bridges have that. So this was the first footage I saw. Very grainy. So just horrible. And it's believed, I think, that 6 people are dead. They saved 2 people though. So that's highly encouraging. Oh geez, I'm such a moron. I hope I don't do this all show, because I've been doing this lately, just forgetting to actually share the tab that I'm playing right in front of my face. So here, this is what I meant to show you guys. So it's grainy footage, it's pixelated, but you guys have already seen all this anyway. I'm sure if you guys haven't, then you guys have been living under a rock, because this is everybody is talking about this like crazy. All right, so let's go to a little bit better footage and a longer video. We're going to get into the nitty gritty on this one, guys. I'm going through everything that I thought was important information around this whole thing. So this is a little bit better video. It's from a different angle. And this one, I mean, you guys tell me what you see with the ship and changing trajectory, whatever. So this is normal speed. And I mean, the first thing you'll notice is cars going across the bridge. So I mean, it's crazy how these cars the cars going to the right that we're looking at, I mean, these cars must have just made it to the other side. And apparently they sent out like a mayday or whatever, a distress signal saying that they lost steering, and the cops got the bridge shut down just in the nick of time, it looks like. So we'll keep going here. And you can see the ass end of the boat swing out, and then a bunch of smoke coming out. And there's been lots of speculation about what that smoke is. Did they go in full reverse? That's why there's so much smoke, because they just went full throttle and full reverse. Then there's other people that have been speculating that smoke is from them trying to fire up the backup diesel generators, which gives them lights and stuff, and it gives them steering control. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was because they went in full reverse. I don't think they did, because I don't think they had motors. I think that was from the backup diesel generators, but you guys tell me if you know differently. So watch this one more time. See the boat coming in, and then at the last minute, you see the ass end kind of swing out. So this is at normal speed. And if they didn't have motors, then how did they change direction so quickly? Because you could see they clearly changed direction. and we'll go to another video here. So it's actually the same video, but it's sped up. And when you speed up the video, you can really see how drastically it changed direction. Let's go to this one. All right, so you can really see how much it changes direction in the when you speed it up. This is 8 times speed here. So look at that. All right. You guys can see it clearly changed direction. And what's crazy is it looks like if they didn't change direction, it would have missed the pier. So, but if they didn't have motors, how did they change direction? You guys tell me. Did they regain power of the motors? And all right, keep going here. Pause that one. Okay, so now let's go to some after footage. So this is from that night when it looks like a rescue crew got in the water, and you can just see a boat. It's obviously a rescue crew going past the boat here. And you guys tell me what you notice in this video. Let me go to a different screen actually so you can see the video better. So a lot of people are pointing to this symbol on the side here, trying to make some sort of Masonic connection. I'm not going to do that. That's not what I'm going to do here. The thing that I'm noticing is they obviously dropped the anchor. Now, did they drop the anchor when it came to a sitting position? After they'd already hit the bridge, did they drop the anchor? And people are saying that's the case because the chain's kind of going straight down here. I don't think that's the case, and I think they even said that they dropped the anchor to try to stop the collision. And well, we'll keep going here. And I can never remember which side is port and which side is starboard. I can't ever remember that. You guys tell me, but it looks like there should be a matching anchor on the other side here, and it looks like only one was dropped. You don't see the other anchor dropped on the other side. All right, no chain, no anchor. All right, so no chain, no anchor. You got a shipping container, a Connex box that fell off here. It's still just sitting on the remnants of the bridge, just barely submerged. Okay. All right, so you guys tell me, what are you thinking so far? Casey Martin, port, 4 letters left. 4 letters. That's how you remember? Okay. Speculation is changing direction was from dropping the anchor. That's what I was saying. That's what makes the most sense to me. And then a bunch of people are saying they dropped it on the is that port side? Yeah, on the port side, and it would have taken it in that direction. And like, why is everybody saying that? That's insane to me. Yeah, if the boat's going straight and they drop the anchor, then yeah, it's gonna swing the boat in that direction. If the boat's going straight, they drop the anchor straight down. Once it hits, it's going to pull the boat in that direction. But if the boat is going, this way, and they drop the anchor, and the boat goes over the top of the position of the anchor, it's going to swing it back the other direction, and it's going to kick the ass end out, just like what we saw. So, just a little curious there. Wally World, thank you. Starboard's the right side. I'm going to forget this. As soon as the show ends. I'm going to forget which side is which, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not a boat captain. I don't need to be a boat expert either. So many people are like, what are you, an expert? No, I'm just some dude looking at some info. That's all I'm doing. So don't attack me here for having a theory, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? If if they're trying to, if they drop the anchor and then the boat goes over the position of the anchor, and now the anchor is on the right side of the boat, it's going to pull the boat back in that direction. So, but a lot of people are also saying that the chain is going straight up and down. And we'll go to another video here that shows, well, this is just, you can see from the still picture here that the chain, it's a different angle, but you can see it almost looks like they're slacking the chain too. So yeah, it looks like they dropped it straight down from this picture, but I don't know, maybe the boat drifted back a little bit after it hit the bridge. I'm not sure, but let's watch this video as well here. I mean, it looks like they're slacking the chain almost, and the chain is going straight up and down. So this could have been so much worse. Obviously, if this would have happened at that, well, that's another reason why they're saying if it was an attack, they did it at a stupid time to not cause maximum damage. Well, maybe the attack wasn't necessarily the main point. Maybe it was a proof of concept, and they had to go after maybe a specific ship because that's what they happen to have access to. I'm purely speculating here. That's all I'm doing is speculating. We're allowed to do that. I'm allowed to theorize. So yeah, people seem to get mad when you theorize. It's, to me, saying that this was an accident, just straight up saying this is obviously an accident is, I mean, you're jumping to as much of a conclusion as saying that it was an attack. You don't know what happened. We just don't know. And there isn't really evidence to point either way. Like, yeah, the ship lost steering, but you see the lights going on and off, and it changes direction at the last moment. So I don't think there's really a ton of evidence to go either direction on it, but we'll keep going here. So I'm just speculating, and I am leaning towards one direction, but not that strongly. I hope it was an accident. I hope they don't. I hope Russia. Sorry, this is the other thing too. A lot of people on the left are like, you're jumping to conspiracy theories. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. You're on the left, and since 2016, you've been saying that Russia has been hacking stuff. Russia's been creating memes, and now I'm saying that I think this might have been Russia, and people are like, you're a conspiracy theorist. It's like, what is going on? How? Anyway, okay, we'll keep going. We'll keep going here. So what do we got next? Okay, this ship isn't the first accident or issue this ship has had. You guys have probably already seen this. There was an incident where it hit the, what is this? The pier, the dock. So that is suboptimal. How common is something like that? I can't imagine that's common. That's a pretty big boo-boo right there. Imagine that caused some serious damage to the boat. All right, let's get back to the chat here. Casey Martin, if you ride a motorcycle and drop one of your feet, what happens? Well, yeah, but again, that's yes, you're going to go in that direction. But what happens if you drop a chain from a motorcycle and that chain goes under your bike to the other side of your bike? It's going to go in that direction, right? Especially if it wraps around a pole or something like that. It's not exactly the same thing. Hit pier, dock is the water where the ship ties in. Eric, all right, enough with your, you know what? That's the pier, not the dock. I'm not a longshoreman. I'm not a boat guy, all right? You guys get off me. Let's see. We'll keep going here. All right. So that wasn't the first incident that boat had. Jeez, come on. So this is we'll go to Glenn Beck here. This is him saying, thanks to a Mayday warning from the cargo ship, transportation officials were able to halt traffic on the Francis Scott Key Bridge at the last second. These guys are heroes. I can't imagine how many lives were saved. Probably a good amount. Imagine if this happened at rush hour. So let's go to Glenn Beck here.
A very important bridge and port in Baltimore. Here's the update that is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, apparently the ship was able to issue a mayday and say they were experiencing a power issue. And this enabled transportation officials to halt traffic over the bridge at the last second. I mean, if you watch the footage, you can see the cars crossing the bridge as normal up until the very last second. And all of a sudden they just stop. And you just kind of assumed it was such a break.
That was a semi truck that just went by too. Did you guys see that? Look at
cars crossing the bridge as normal.
Right there in the suspension part of the bridge. It's either a semi truck or a big old box truck, like right in the suspension part of the bridge. This could have been so bad. So bad.
Until the very last second. And all of a sudden they just stop. And you just kind of assumed it was such a break in traffic. But apparently they knew something was wrong and were able to stop it. I mean, they must have saved dozens of lives by doing that. So that's an incredible part of the story.
Yeah, these guys are heroes. If you're watching the blaze right now, we're showing you the bridge collapse. It is absolutely unbelievable. And you can see how the boat is trying to turn as sharply as they can. And then the lights come back on. They try to steer it away, and then it goes out at the second time, and it's just too late in the whole.
But they didn't have steering. That's why I'm thinking that sudden change in direction had to have been from them dropping the boat anchor. And again, I know you made the motorcycle analogy. Well, motorcycles can't drift, like their wheels are straight forward. They can't drift to the side. That's what I'm saying. If the boat wasn't just going completely forward, it was kind of drifting to the left, and they drop the anchor as the boat's drifting to the left. Once that anchor catches, it's going to kick the nose of the boat, because if the boat's drifting to the left and they drop the anchor and then the boat goes over the top of the position of the anchor, and now the anchor is on the right side of the boat and the anchor is connected to the front of the boat, it's going to do exactly what we just saw. It's going to bring the nose of the boat back towards the position of the anchor, and it's going to kick the ass end of the boat out. Right? I mean, I'm not a physics guy, but that makes perfect sense to me. The only thing that doesn't make sense is it looks like there was the chain was going straight up and down. So that's what I don't get. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm not a boat guy. All right, guys. I'm not a longshoreman either. I'm certainly not a genius. All right, we'll keep going. Oopsies. Okay, good. I did actually. I thought for a second I didn't play that video for you either. Okay, so let's look at the path the boat took when it left the pier. Right, Eric? Not the dock, the pier. Yeah. All right. So the ship changed its course at approximately 2 minutes prior to hitting the Baltimore Bridge. At 4:44 UTC, the ship began its journey. At 5:27:37 UTC, the ship changed course. At 5:29:39 UTC, the ship hit the bridge. And this is MJ Truth Ultra. He says this was no accident. There's a lot of people that came out and were firmly saying this was intentional. That bugs me too. You can't say for sure it was intentional, but I don't think you can say for sure this was an accident either. So this is why I'm doing this. Let's look at all the information. You guys decide for yourself at the end. To me, you guys already know what I think. I already told you that at the beginning of the video. Okay, so he says this was no accident. Other ship details: the Dolly IMO 9697428 is a container ship and is sailing under the flag of Singapore. MMSI 54300 4200. I don't know what that means. Call sign 9 Vector 5283. AIS transponder Class A. General vessel type cargo. Detailed vessel type container ship. All right. So he's got a video here that shows like the GPS coordinates, the map that this thing took. So let's watch this really quick. You can see how it changes direction. All right, so it leaves the pier, makes a big old U-turn. All right, just going straight, going straight, going straight. And then boom, when it gets to there, it changes direction at the last moment. Right there, it changes direction. What's weird is it doesn't show it change, because it looks like it changed direction and then at the last moment changed direction sharply. Let you guys watch this one more time. All right, and it changes direction sharply right about here. So part of my whole hacking in theory would be, if somebody had remote access to this ship, to the steering, could they change direction and then kill power so they couldn't correct? Is that's just what I was thinking. The question is, could somebody have remotely hacked into the ship and changed the course and then killed the power so they couldn't do anything, and now it's on a collision course? And yeah, and could this be more of a proof of concept, trying it on a smaller scale? I mean, if we start seeing stuff like this happening in other places, not just ships, but I mean, anything that could be remotely hacked into and change the speed of a vehicle, like a train, to make it so you don't have access to the brakes, make it so it just keeps accelerating and keeps accelerating, goes around a corner too hard. I don't know. If we start seeing other stuff like this, I think we're going to have to get a little more suspicious at that point. And that will confirm, well, you'd think it would confirm that it was an attack. Okay, let's go over to Colin Rugg here. It says, just in, Baltimore port claims the Dali cargo ship had a severe electronic problem just days before the crash into the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Container Royalty Company Administrator Julie Mitchell said this ship was having issues 48 hours before the crash. Those 2 days, they were having serious power outages. They had several electrical problems. It was a total power failure, loss of engine, power, everything, she said. That's from CNN. Mitchell claims the refrigerated container tripped breakers on the ship multiple times, and the mechanics tried to fix the issue. Mitchell said that the power problems are rare on cargo ships like the Dali, and that it should never have left port until the issue was fixed. Okay. An officer on the Dali says the ship went dead and everything went dark. The vessel went dead, no steering, power, and no electronics. Then how did they call for a mayday signal? I guess that's battery operated. The smell of burnt fuel was everywhere in the engine room, and it was pitch black, they said. Okay, there's just more footage of the bridge. You guys don't need to see that. All right, we'll keep going here. So, all right. So this is from Clandestine. I really like this guy. He does excellent work. He does write-ups and gives his opinion, but I mean, he completely disagrees with me here. But what sucks is, so I mean, a lot of people that think like us follow Clandestine, and then him saying, "Yeah, guys, I don't think this was deliberate. I think this was an accident." He started getting attacked. He started getting attacked by people. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to say what we think happened and why we think that, and that's exactly what he did. And he started getting attacked by people. So it's annoying. All right. So Clandestine says, we'll stay here. Here is the police dispatch from before and after the bridge collapse as first responders. This is from DC News Live. Mayday calls were received by first responders. They were aware the ship had lost steering and stopped incoming traffic from getting onto the bridge. Reportedly, no civilian vehicles were on the bridge at the time of the collapse. There were 8 workers filling potholes on the bridge at the time of the collapse. 2 survived, 6 were unaccounted for and presumed dead. And that's awful. It could could have been so much worse, though. This means that if there was a terror attack meant to kill people, it was not very effective. What kind of terrorist warns first responders to save civilians? If the terror attack was meant to cripple American infrastructure and shipping, I-95 and I-895 have been implemented as alternate land routes. The port will be able to operate after the way is cleared, and supply chains have already begun diverting transport through other ports until the Baltimore port is viable again. GM and Ford have both said this will have minimal impact on their operations and have already developed contingencies. I know you heard lots of doom mongering today about this is going to cripple the United States economy, but that's simply not true at all. The isolated incident will be an inconvenience, but the machines will keep churning. The machine will keep turning. If we see a trend of accidents like this, then I might start to worry. Okay. If you think this ship was hacked and the bridge was taken out intentionally, then this attack was horribly executed and didn't accomplish much. And what I would push back on that would be saying, well, what if it was just sort of a proof of concept? What if they were just trying to see if they could do it? This is a new thing. We haven't seen cyber attacks on container ships, or any other large scale transportation. We haven't seen any of that yet. So that would be my only thinking. What if this was a proof of concept type thing? So, but I mean, he's spot on here. We don't have a ton of evidence to point to this was for sure on purpose. We don't have a ton of evidence for that. But I mean, you can't just take it off the table. And he didn't there. He didn't say this was not an attack. He's saying this doesn't look like an attack. And if it was horribly executed. It's his opinion. He's allowed to have it. So people attacking him was kind of annoying there. That was, especially because of how great work he does. He does excellent work. If you don't follow Clandestine, you should. All right, we'll keep going here. Let me change views. Actually, no, I'm going to keep it in this view because we're going to watch some more videos. All right, so this is an actual expert. And this is from Justin Hart. I love Justin. We follow each other. He's great, but he does not like Trump, and he poo-poos on any sort of conspiracy theory. So I like Justin because he'll reel me back in, tell me I'm dumb, and yeah. So this is from an actual. This is a dude that's been working on these types of ships for a very long time, and this is his opinion on the whole matter, and I think we should listen.
I've worked on ships like this my whole life.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm a chief engineer, and I've worked on ships like this my whole life. This is a Panamax, so a Neo-Panamax design, largest ship that can get through the Panama Canal, built in Hyundai Heavy Industries. I worked in Hyundai Heavy Industries and went on board.
Eric, you say you do your test at rush hour, and if you fail, nobody will know, unless they had a specific ship targeted, because that's what they had access to, that they could hack into one particular ship, and they're like, okay, what route, how can we cause maximum damage with this one ship that we have? And they can't change what time it's going to arrive in certain places. They have to sort of work with what they have. That would be my thinking there, is that they couldn't hack into any ship that they wanted to. They had access to this one ship. And I'm purely speculating. I'm not making that claim. So that's all I'll say there, is that, why didn't they do it at a different time? Well, because the boat wasn't going under the bridge at a different time. They only had access to the one boat. That's, and again, purely speculation.
Just a ship to the Dolly. These ships are operated in and out of the U.S. and get around the Jones Act by having foreign crews. As long as they don't come into 2 U.S. ports, one after the other, they're allowed to be foreign flagged and use our ports. The crew on a ship like this is paid very low wages, and could be from anywhere in the world: Indian, Sri Lanka, Filipino. These ships like these are maintained on shoestring budgets. The shipping industry is very competitive, and how much money you spend on maintenance can make or break a contract.
So that's kind of concerning. We have no idea how dangerous this crap actually is, and these people aren't really maintaining their ships. Oh, wonderful.
These ships have the minimum safety designs to be seaworthy enough to enter U.S. waters. They generally don't meet Coast Guard regulations. Ships like these don't have very many redundant power systems. In the case of a power outage like we saw here, the blackout, there's an emergency generator. If that doesn't come on or comes on and then trips back off, then you don't have any steering. This ship weighs about 100,000 tons. And with that momentum, putting the anchor down, they put the anchor down. It didn't really do anything.
Okay, so he's confirming that they did put the anchor down. So that's interesting.
It's like putting sewing thread down to try to stop a school bus. The public lives in blissful ignorance of how unreliable and how poorly crewed these vessels actually are.
Wonderful.
There are many, many failure modes that can cause a power outage on a ship to lose the plant, both electrical and mechanical. Again, when you're doing shoestring maintenance, this is the kind of thing that happens. That said, this doesn't look intentional to me. It looks like just a power outage. The ship drifted into the support for the bridge, and the bridge collapsed. No conspiracy going on here. It's just lack of maintenance and human error with the crew.
It just doesn't explain the change in direction, though. If they lost power and they didn't have steering, how did it change direction? Or did they accidentally? You guys saw the course that it took. You saw the map of it. Did they accidentally change course into the bridge and then they lost power? Like this is why my brain sort of went in this direction. That if why would it change course towards the pier, towards the pillar? Why would it do that? And then they lost power just coincidentally. So that's why the whole hacking theory comes into mind. Did they change course? Did somebody hack into it, change course, and then kill the power so they couldn't do anything about it? And again, total speculation. I'm an idiot. This is just me spitballing here. All right, we'll keep going. Let's check the chat. Northside, nice to see you. Coach is saying the Ukrainian captain did it. I am not making any claims. Let's see. Eric, he's got that right. I won't sail on one. Well, why would you be on a cargo ship, Eric? I wouldn't want to sail on one either. I mean, unless I was abducted, that would be the only way you'd get me on one of those things. All right, let's keep going here. So that dude doesn't seem to think that it was a conspiracy or a terror attack either. All right. But you can see why, and I'm not disagreeing with him about anything that he said. It's just, why did the boat change direction? If they had control of it up to a certain point, if they had control of it when it changed direction, why did they change direction? And if they didn't have control of it before it changed direction, how did it change direction? So these are like, those would just be the questions I'd like to ask that guy. All right, let's keep going here. And this is sort of interesting. I just put this in here because it's kind of interesting. So this goes towards my whole tinfoil brain thing. So this is from Max Bonilla. If you guys don't follow him, he's fantastic. Does a lot of great California legwork. Outraged Teen at outraged teen _ on the Twitter world. Give him a follow. He dug this up. It's kind of interesting. He says, tell me the Baltimore Bridge crash wasn't an accident without telling me that it wasn't an accident. Check out what FBI Director Christopher Wray did the day before. So William J. Del Bagno, named special agent in charge of the Baltimore field office. Director Christopher Wray has named William J. Del Bagno, I don't know how you pronounce that, as the special agent in charge of the Baltimore field office. Mr. Del Bagno most recently served as the acting assistant director of the inspection division at FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. Okay. So, okay. I don't know anything about that guy. I don't know. Is he nefarious? It is interesting that just the day before he changed a new director in that entire area. So what does the FBI have to say about this? and this is from Eric Abinante, also a great follow on X. He has joined me for several podcasts. Very good dude, very funny dude. He is a comedian and he's hilarious. Just give him a follow. Eric Abinante, great dude. Okay, so this is from the Charlie Kirk show, and it shows what the FBI say about this, what their official statement is, and then Laura Logan sort of gives her 2 cents on what she thinks is going on.
FBI, when very first looking at and assessing this matter from an investigative standpoint, I want to be clear that there is no specific or credible information to suggest that there are ties to terrorism.
No specific or credible information with ties to terrorism. And also, if this was Russia attacking, that could be classified as something different, an attack, not necessarily terrorism. So it's very tricky with his language there. Listen to that again. It's just, he seems a little, it's just a little bit of hide the ball there. A little tricky with the language.
FBI, when very first looking at and assessing this matter from an investigative standpoint, I want to be clear that there is no specific or credible information to suggest that there are ties to terrorism in this incident.
Laura, your response.
Well, it's very interesting language, Charlie. You notice that, first of all, he gives himself an out because he says at this time, right? And then he's very clever to say there's no credible information. So he's not saying there's no information. So you can't, if you come up with information, you can't say then, well, the FBI knows this or they know that. What they're saying is we've determined it's not credible information, but they're leaving the door open. So first of all, they're steering you in a particular direction. They're telling you where they want you to go. They want you not to look at this as a terrorist attack. And also, of course, they're using very specific language with a terrorist attack, because what if this is an attack that was carried out, a cyber attack that was carried out by, for example, someone like China, which is a state adversary. So that would not necessarily be classified as a terrorist attack, right? And so when I listen to that man, and this is from 35 plus years of experience now, of listening to how people who are in positions of authority and power know how to parse their words so that they stay within the lines where you cannot accuse them of this or that, or they cannot be held to account, and they have every out that they need, but they make sure that they get you to go exactly where they want you to go. And one of the ways that you can make this kind of assessment is to begin to understand the tactics that they use. So, for example, the level of effort, time, effort, and resources that they put into discrediting your information, your work, your reporting, your character, and so on, is usually a reflection of how important it is to them to stop what you're doing, right? So when I turn on my computer or my phone and I see I'm being attacked from every direction, that's a very strong indicator that they're putting a high degree and level of effort into discrediting my reporting, not my belief, because this is not based on my beliefs. My beliefs are irrelevant here. This is based on my report.
All right, so she's saying he's being tricky with the language too. I mean, he kind of was, so no credible evidence at this time that it was an attack, but yeah, I guarantee you Fed boys are thinking the same thing, like, hey, could they have remoted into that boat? And I don't even know if that's possible on that particular ship. I don't know, like with what Homie was saying earlier, these things are maintained on a shoestring budget. So, this thing's probably, I was going to make a joke about that submarine that popped that was operated with a PlayStation joystick. Remember? I couldn't think of a good joke at the time. Eric, no, I can't go into my messages and try to check and find that YouTube video right now. I already got everything laid out. Now it sort of get me off into the weeds there. All right. So she thinks, he's being tricky with his language there. Well, we'll keep going here. All right. So I could change views here. And actually, if you guys are watching, you want to give the like button a tap, that'd be very helpful. Leave a comment, share, repost, all that stuff. All that stuff is super helpful if you guys want to help the show out. All right, let's see. Sorry, this calls for buying tinfoil hat futures. I don't know what that. I don't think they sell actual tinfoil hats, do they? I mean, I can show the link here. Does it work? No, Eric, I'm not gonna go play some random video that you show me right now. It might tie in, but I already got this all played out. Post it on your channel and tell people to go there. All right, let's read this. So this is from, well, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is about the boat. This is just the Wikipedia on the boat. And the first part here. So MV Dolly is a Singapore registered container ship completed in 2015 and owned by Grace Ocean Pte Ltd. As of March 21st, the vessel is chartered by Maersk. I don't know how you pronounce that. Maersk, and managed and operated by Synergy Marine Group. All right. So let's look at Maersk a little bit, shall we? So I just started just searching terms, and one of the things I searched was Maersk shipping automation, and some interesting things popped up. So Maersk to trial AI integration on container vessels. This is from April 26, 2018. So this is 6 years ago. All right. So Maersk has signed a contract with Boston-based Sea Machines Robotics to trial an innovative AI-powered situational awareness system on a container ship. Okay. The system will be trialed on Maersk's newly built ICE-class container ships, utilizing cutting-edge light detection and ranging LiDAR and perception software. The solution provided by Sea Machines Robotics is similar in function to advanced driver assistance systems. You mean like access to steering? Commonly installed in automobiles to alert drivers of upcoming hazards and help prevent accidents. So there's plenty of cars out there that will get you, like, I know, like the Ford Transit Connect that I used to drive for work, if it would see the lines in the road, and if you went over the line, it would tell you, and it would beep. There's other cars that will actually correct your steering. Advanced sensors are utilized to collect a continuous stream of situational and environmental data, and the AI system then analyzes the data and displays it in the wheelhouse, helping the crew identify and track potential risks and conflicts. The two parties hope that these innovations will help improve at-sea situational awareness, object identification, and tracking capabilities, allowing for safer and more efficient maritime operations. Okay, so that doesn't say that it would correct the steering, but it would say that it would tell the operator, hey, you need to adjust course because you're about to hit some shit. All right. Read the big data in the maritime industry for a discussion in the opportunities big data has to offer. All right. So this is just more about the company and the stuff they do. But point is here, if they had this technology on the ship, I mean, that gives someone remote access. You can hack that. Anything online can be hacked. So that's Maersk. Let's look at Synergy Group. So back to the Wikipedia here really quick. So it says this vessel is chartered by Maersk and managed and operated by Synergy Marine Group. All right, let's check out Synergy Marine Group. So this is Maritime Vision 2050, digitalization in shipping. This is from Synergy Group's own website. This is their actual website, and it says, introduction: digitalization of the maritime industry is inevitable. With the advent of rapidly evolving technology and the need for sustainable shipping, automation with digital data flow and has the potential to enhance safety and improve environmental performance, and to assist compliance with FEXI, CII, and other provisions, breach of which would be costly in ways that are a lot more significant than just financial penalty. breach of. Okay. Digitalization uses and advantages. So fuel consumption and maintenance. Digitalization helps with online monitoring. Okay. Of fuel consumption, and also allow trends to be analyzed for better understanding of the engine efficiency, performance, and related maintenances. Does that give them remote access to shut down the engines or do something funny with the fuel? Just asking questions. Vessel performance, digitalization. That's a hard word for me to say. Technology can convey all relevant data to shore management in respect of optimal vessel routing, and AI-based machine learning via digitized systems can progressively improve vessel performance. Maintenance prediction, digitalization technology can perform condition monitoring and predict critical equipment issues and general wear and tear, and so reduce maintenance costs in preventing breakdown by means of early notification. Data transparency, I'm not going to read that. Reduction of fuel consumption. Digitalization can provide user-friendly human-machine interface systems and a hydromatic optimization program to calculate real-time operating conditions. This is based on dynamic algorithms developed from vessel data and will indicate optimal trim, draft, and speed in order to cut fuel consumption and CHG emissions. Okay. Crew well-being and medical response, port resources, information management, and vessels balanced scoreboard. Okay. So, and this goes more into, let me look at automation here. Automation. Introducing new automation technologies may offer company-wide solutions in regards to fuel consumption, power system optimization, and waste heat technology. All right. This is all sorts of stuff that you can, well, let's go to the conclusion here. Successful digital transformation, which is what digitalization is, requires not only the right set of tools, but also the right expertise and guidance to drive the process, and also to counter misconception that a company just needs to upgrade its equipment and technology. Digitalization is not just about changes in technology. It is also about an organization's ability to adapt to those changes. And that can be a major problem even for companies with robust digital transformation strategies. All maritime industry stakeholders must be ready to meet the consistently changing requirements to invest in people, processes, also technology in order to complete successful digital transformation. All right. So there's tons of other information out there as well about like fully automated shipping vessels, container ships, like fully automated, no crew. That stuff's in the works right now. So, but again, that was a pretty crappy boat, and I don't know how much money it was put into it, but yeah, we'll keep going. So this was put out by Clint Russell the day after the bridge collapse. He says, for people saying no way, that's not possible. Yes, it is. And this is from Resilient Navigation and Timing Foundation. It says hackers took full control of a container ship's navigation system for 10 hours. IHS fair play. So I decided to hunt down this article. I just wanted to read what they had to say in here. And here it is. So I already read you the title. Blog editor's note. This is an interesting article, though it would have been more helpful if I could have said which systems were hacked. One has the impression that the navigation sensors were not impacted, i.e. no jamming or spoofing, but it's not clear. It would also have been helpful if the article had said how the ship's crew detected the attack. A successful attack would likely be subtle and not be easily detectable. Okay, so, and again, they like if somebody could hack into that boat and affect the steering, it's not a lot they would have to do. Change the direction, right into the pier, kill the motors. Like that's all you got to do. I mean, I'm not saying that's easy by any stretch of the imagination, but looking at the course that the boat took and it changing the direction the way it did, if they lost steering, how did it change direction? And if they lost steering after it changed direction, why did they change direction in the first place towards the pier? That's what really doesn't make sense to me. Why did the boat end up going towards the pier in the first place? It was on course to just completely clear it, and then all of a sudden it changes course 2 minutes out right at it. And it looks like that's when the engines were cut. So I don't know, guys. Like, that's where my tinfoil brain's going there. So let's read the article. Hackers took full control of the container ship's navigation systems for 10 hours. And again, this is, if you guys just tuned in, I am not talking about the actual Dolly boat. This is from 2017. This is a different article here. So IHS Fair Play, hackers took full control of container ship's navigation systems for 10 hours. In February of 2017, hackers reportedly took control, and this is, you guys, this is way back in 2017. So anyway, in February of 2017, hackers reportedly took control of the navigation system of a German-owned 8,250 TEU, I don't know what that means, container vessel en route from Cyprus to Djibouti. Oh yeah, that's Djibouti. I forgot Djibouti had started with a D. That's just weird. From Cyprus to Djibouti for 10 hours. Suddenly the captain could not maneuver. Suddenly the captain could not maneuver. And an industry source who did not wish to be identified told Fair Play sister title Safety Act CSAS. Oh, okay. The IT system of the vessel was completely hacked. There were 3 German ship owners that operate 8 vessels between 8,200 and 8,300 TEU. According to the IHS market data, one of which confirmed knowledge of the attack to SAS, but denied it was a vessel from their own company. While details are limited, according to the source, the 10-hour hack was carried out by pirates who gained full control of the vessel's navigation system, intending to steer it to an area where they could board and take over. The crew attempted to regain control of the navigation system, but had to bring IT experts on board, who eventually managed to get them running again after hours of work. The IT experts installed a program designated for maritime industry, which would block all attacks coming from outside attempting to influence the IT system, like a firewall on your home computer, but much stronger and against all sorts of possible attacks, said the industry source. They added that their opinion, the case serves as a pre-warning about what will happen in the future of shipping, with pirates using hacking to gain control and entry to vessels in order to carry out a kidnap or ransom. Okay, so this is back in 2017. I mean, I don't know what sort of software or tech they had installed on this ship, but I'd be very curious to know. Very curious indeed. So yeah, that's what we know, guys. That's what we know about the ship. So make of it what you will. I'm not saying that it was an attack. I'm not saying that it wasn't an attack either. And I'm telling you where my brain immediately went to. Could the Russians, as a response, because they can't prove that we were part of the terrorist attack on Moscow, they can't prove that, but they suspect that we did it. Would they respond with an attack that we couldn't prove was them, but we suspect that they did it? And would our government tell us if they suspected it was the Russians in response to that attack? I don't know. So that's immediately where my brain went. So yeah, TEU is a 20-foot container. Oh, okay. It's a Connex box. Got you. Okay. Yeah, guys, that's what I got for the boat thing. That's what I got for it. So I'm not saying that it was an attack, but I'm definitely not saying that it wasn't either. So I don't think we can really lean in one direction. And as soon as the FBI comes out and is like, we got no credible evidence at this time that it was a terrorist attack, that gives them 3 outs right there. 3 ways of navigating those waters, no pun intended, of, denying that it was anything nefarious. So, all right, we'll keep going here. I got plenty of other stuff that I wanted to get into, but that was definitely the main part of the show here. Now I just want to get into like a bunch of other stories that just popped up on my radar. I thought I was going to take me longer to get through all that stuff that I just did, but I got plenty of other things pulled up here. So this showed up right before the show started, and just wanted to sort of pull it up. So Border Patrol agents responded to a call from the Marine Corps base about a Chinese national who entered the base without authorization, ignoring orders to leave. Subject was confirmed to be in the country illegally. His purpose and intent behind his actions are still being investigated. So I think this was Pendleton, the base that he got onto. Okay, so yeah, snuck onto a base and he wasn't doing what they were telling him to do. And just look at this guy. He stone face completely. All right, man, I expect to see something gnarly in like the coming weeks or month. They've just let too many people over the border. And, we got that whole April the 8th thing coming up where they are shutting down schools, I guess, and they're going to fire up the Large Hadron Collider. And looks like Israel is going to sacrifice their sacred cow soon, which means they want to take out that mosque. So yeah, lots of things happening. Okay, so then there's this story. So this is from Tara Bull here over on the Twitters or on the X platform. She says the DOJ is ordering Google to release the names and addresses of YouTube viewers who watched specific videos. It's unconstitutional to, okay, and then she just quotes what he says here. So the DOJ is ordering Google, YouTube to release the names and addresses of people that just watched certain content. Are you kidding me? I don't know why they even need that. Like the Department of Justice, like Google is CIA. Just ask the CIA. They already got all that info. So, okay, let's watch this video here. Let's see what this dude has to say. This is from Fox News.
Ordered Google to hand over the names, addresses, telephone numbers, and user activity of those who watch certain YouTube videos. The feds were trying to track down a criminal and were apparently tracking you in the process. The senior national correspondent, Kevin Cork, is live in D.C. with the big news.
Mental health out in the Central Valley. Nice to see you, buddy.
About Big Brother. Kevin, good evening.
Evening, Trace. According to Forbes, the government asking Google to give up names, addresses, phone numbers, and user activity of all account users who accessed certain YouTube videos back in January of 2023, as you mentioned, as part of a larger criminal investigation. Now, in another instance, police also asked Google to provide a list of accounts that viewed and or interacted with YouTube live streams that could lead to information, again, on what they claim was a police search.
Yeah, you guys in the chat watching over there on YouTube might want to go watch on Rumble or maybe on X.
Privacy experts tell Fox Business tonight this discovery is absolutely terrifying, saying it allows the police to target people for simply consuming content. Quote,
as much shit as I talk about the intelligence agencies and the government, I'm on a list. You guys know I'm freaking on a list. I mean, I'm small fry, but oh boy.
It's unconstitutional. It's terrifying, and it's happening every day. These YouTube warrants are just as chilling, allowing police to target people simply for the content they consume. No one should fear and knock at the door from police simply because of what YouTube's algorithm serves up.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the police. It'd be the FBI. It'd be the Fed boys. The local cops aren't going to call and be like, oh, what were you looking at on YouTube? Going to be the feds. And we've been seeing lots of videos coming out of the FBI showing up at people's houses because of things they posted on the internet that aren't illegal. They're not threats. They're just concerning to the FBI. Look, any of you guys listening, if the FBI shows up at your house, do you have a warrant? No, get the fuck off my property. That's it. Then, I mean, maybe make fun of the way they look. I don't know. But do not say anything to them. Don't be like, yeah, I posted that thing. So what? Like, no, don't say shit. Do not say shit. There's nothing good that's going to come from talking to the feds at all. Unless you're recording a video and you're making fun of them and it's funny. That could be good. Then you put it on the internet to not only show that the FBI showed up at your house because of something you posted online, but you can make fun of the FBI and then post it online. That could be good.
Now, the discovery also comes as Meta is said to be changing its algorithm to restrict Instagram users' access to political information. And of course, as an upcoming Supreme Court ruling could set new standards for free speech. And while it's still unclear tonight if Google gave authorities the requested information, the company tells Fox Business this evening, quote, "We have a rigorous process designed to protect the privacy and constitutional rights of our users." It goes on. "We examine each demand for legal validity consistent with developing case law, and we routinely push back against overbroad or otherwise inappropriate demands for user data, including objecting to some demands entirely." Now, the DOJ tonight has yet to respond to our request for comment. It is a huge story, a bombshell, some would say, Trace, one that will obviously garner further examination.
Okay, Google's saying that they push back against the Department of Justice. I'm not really buying that, considering how many former CIA, which you're never really former CIA, officials work at high-level positions within Google, like lots of them. And yeah, I'm not buying that they push back. You can't tell where Google ends and the CIA begins. It's awful. All right. So on that same note, let's go over to Michael Schellenberger here, and he wrote this out. So Schellenberger says, "It's much worse than I thought. The corporate media are all in on government censorship." And so if you guys don't know who Michael Schellenberger is, he's fantastic. He wrote the book San Francisco. He's a Bay Area guy. The book San Francisco about the fentanyl genocide that's taking place on the streets of San Francisco. He's done great work exposing the offshore wind project over on the East Coast. And him and Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss were the ones that Elon released all of the Twitter files information to. And he exposed a ton of collusion between the government and big tech, primarily Twitter, in regards to suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story, suppression of the Tara Reade rape story that still so many people don't know about, and suppression of vaccine information and COVID data about, overcounting of deaths, hospitals counting deaths that are COVID deaths that aren't really COVID deaths, all that kind of stuff. He was one of those journalists. So, all right, we'll keep going. Over the last 3 years, we have come to learn the role that our own government officials have played in demanding censorship by social media platforms. Some of this censorship was overt. Particularly, it was related to COVID. However, some of it was also done in secrecy. As we discovered in the Twitter files, many of us thought that once we had uncovered the censorship, governments would be sufficiently embarrassed to stop doing it. And to some extent, that has been the case. But now governments around the world are stepping up their efforts to demand more censorship. For example, over in Europe, Thierry Breton with the Digital Services Act, they have legalized censorship over in Europe. It's completely different. So any of you guys get a message saying, hey, your post is being taken down in Germany or whatever, that's because of the Digital Services Act. It's quite literally illegal for you to say certain things in Europe now, and the companies have to comply, or they'll get hit with a massive fine, and they'll threaten not being able to use, like Twitter, for example, not being able to use Twitter over in Europe. I was saying when Thierry Breton came and met with Elon and Linda Yaccarino, I really wish Elon would have told him to shove it. Like, fine, you guys can't have Twitter in Europe then, and play hardball, push back. I mean, people are going to be pissed if it's like all of a sudden they can't have Twitter because the government's saying that too much misinformation is being spread. All right. So, but now governments around the world are stepping up their efforts to demand more censorship, like the Digital Services Act. Last week, the Federal Bureau of Investigation quietly announced it had resumed its outreach to social media companies. Scotland police could even investigate comedians under a new hate speech law if someone complains about a joke. Major media outlets are currently working with the government-funded censorship activists at the University of Washington and Stanford Internet Observatory to demand greater censorship in the name of saving democracy. The Stanford Internet Observatory people are psychotic. It's a bunch of freaking leftists with pronouns in their bio that they just label whatever they don't like or whatever they disagree with misinformation. Like you see you just saw the Roman McDaniels stuff, how MSNBC wanted to hire her, and then they got so much backlash because she's a right-wing Republican, and she said that there was problems with the 2020 election. And they say that who's the chick on Morning Joe? Is that Mika? After Roman McDaniels said that there was problems with the 2020 election, like the most mild thing to say, she says disgusting. We have proof with the Twitter files that the government, the FBI, the CIA would directly contact Twitter and have them take down information that is now proven to be true, like the Hunter Biden laptop story. That quite literally is election interference. It's the definition of election interference. Holding vital information back from the American voter, that information alone, in my opinion, would have swung the election in Trump's favor. That's straight up election interference. And you go back to 2016, what did Hillary say was the big old election interference that the Russians did? Like, what did she even allege that they did? Not that they hacked into the machines or anything, but they created memes and spread misinformation online. That's exactly what the Twitter files exposed, and now they're saying, oh, it's not a big deal. It's amazing. All right. Without a doubt, those of us who have uncovered censorship have had an impact. On 60 Minutes last Sunday, the government-funded advocates of censorship at the University of Washington said that they have stopped demanding censorship of social media platforms. Simply drawing awareness to who is demanding censorship and who is funding them has weakened their power. But governments, government-funded NGOs, and the news media have been relentless in their demands for a crackdown on speech they deem hateful and false. At the Supreme Court last week, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson expressed unironic concern that the First Amendment restricts government's ability to censor. And everyone from the New Yorker to the New York Times to NBC is suggesting that the only people who are worried about government censorship are Trump supporters, which is obviously false. The 60 Minutes segment was particularly shocking. Leslie Stahl never mentioned the mass censorship of accurate information about COVID's origins, COVID vaccines, and lockdowns. She falsely suggested that shining a light on the censorship activities was tantamount to persecution, and she suggested that the government did not do more. She suggested that if the government didn't do more to censor misinformation, Trump supporters would overthrow the government, which is a form of different disinformation aimed at scaring people into giving up their most fundamental freedom. There are many reasons why they are doing this. So yeah, the Ketanji Brown Jackson thing was freaking insane, what she was suggesting there. All right, let's watch this video from Schellenberger here.
Over the last 3 years, we have come to learn of the role that our government officials have played in demanding censorship by social media platforms. Some of that censorship was overt, particularly as it related to COVID, but some of it was done in secrecy, as we discovered in the Twitter files.
Sunshine Daydream, nice to see you.
Now, many of us thought that once we had uncovered the censorship, governments would be sufficiently embarrassed to stop doing it.
Okay, never mind. He just says everything that I just said. He's just quoting himself. Well, let's let him watch because he plays a couple of videos in here.
And to some extent, that's been the case. But now governments around the world are stepping up their efforts to demand ever more censorship from social media platforms. Last week, the Federal Bureau of Investigation quietly announced it had resumed its outreach to social media companies. In Scotland, the police can now investigate comedians under a new hate speech law if someone complains about a joke.
So that reminds me. So, who was it? Count Dankula. Have you guys have heard of Count Dankula? He's someone that got in trouble. I don't think it was in Scotland. I think it was in the UK. But I mean, I don't know if you guys will think this is funny. It's he trained his girlfriend's pug to. This is what he did. I'm not endorsing what he did, but this is what he did. If you're not familiar with it, he trained his girlfriend's pug to Heil Hitler when he said "gas the Jews." That's what he did. I'm not agreeing with it at all, but he spent all day as his girlfriend was at work training the dog to do it. And then when she got home, he was like, "Look," and he said it, and the dog did it. And his girlfriend says, "No, you didn't." That video. So that video, I think they arrested him. He got in major trouble for this. And yeah, they obviously don't have freedom because that's legal. It's legal to do, whether you think it's funny or not. It's legal to do. And that's what he did, but it's not legal over there in the UK. I'm pretty sure that's where it was. It was in Britain.
And major media outlets are currently working with government-funded censorship activists at the University of Washington, Stanford Internet Observatory to demand greater censorship in the name of saving democracy. Without a doubt, those of us who have uncovered the censorship have had an impact. On 60 Minutes last Sunday, the government-funded advocates of censorship at the University of Washington say they had stopped demanding censorship of social media platforms.
While they will continue releasing.
This is who's deciding what's misinformation or not. This person right here. Do you think she's a Republican? Just judging purely off of her haircut? What do you think? You think she's a Republican, guys?
Their research reports on misinformation.
Oh, here's her friends. These are all the people deciding what misinformation is. Do these look like Republicans to you? All the people that are deciding what information should be censored, all of them are leftists. And not just 90s Democrats. We're talking radical progressive, probably Marxist, hardcore leftists. They are the disinformation people. That's who they are. And they're just trying to censor one side of the story because they don't agree with it and they don't like it. These people are insane.
Information. They will no longer send their findings to the social media platforms.
And simply drawing awareness to who is demanding the censorship and who is funding them has weakened their power. But governments, government-funded NGOs, and the news media have been relentless in their demands for a crackdown on speech they deem hateful and false. At the Supreme Court last week, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson expressed unironic concern that the First Amendment restricts the government's ability to censor.
Justice Jackson?
So my biggest concern is that your view has the First Amendment hamstringing the government in significant ways.
And everybody...
That's what it's for!
From the New Yorker to the New York Times to NBC are suggesting that the only people who worry about government censorship are Trump supporters, which is obviously false. The 60 Minutes segment in particular was shocking. Lesley Stahl never mentioned the mass censorship of accurate information about COVID's origins, about COVID vaccines, or the lockdowns. She falsely suggested that shining a light on the censorship activists was tantamount to their persecution.
There are people who make the accusation that going after these researchers, misinformation researchers, is tantamount to harassment.
And she suggested that if the government didn't do more to censor misinformation, Trump supporters would overthrow the government, which is truly a form of disinformation aimed at scaring people into giving up our first and most fundamental freedom. There's many reasons why they're doing this. The media have
I'm sure there's a follow-up video to this, but yeah, you guys get the point there. So these are not honest people, not at all. All right, let's keep going here. Got another story to get to because this is kind of insane. All right, let's go over to Mario Narwhals here. Let's check in with the chat really quick. If you guys are watching, you want to give that like button a tap, whatever platform you're watching on. Like, share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Feminazi, Yeah, no kidding. Count Dacula was Scotland. All right, thank you. So, yeah. So, well, there you go. Great phrase, misinformation researcher. Yeah, like so. Sorry, my dog's doing weird stuff over here. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, again, hit that like button if you get a chance. Much appreciate it. Oh, wait, hold on. What we got over there? Okay, sorry. Keep going here. All right, this is Mario Narwhals, and he gives a 12-hour recap. Not to be too doom and gloom, but you guys, shit is getting crazy. Like, everything's coming to a head all at once, especially with the war stuff that's breaking out all over the place. Or not breaking out, the war stuff that's escalating. It's escalating very heavily in Ukraine. Obviously, the terrorist attack on Moscow, which they blame us for. And it's escalating. It's escalating in Gaza because you guys know my opinion on this. It's a genocide. They are wiping out Gaza, and I believe this will be a 100% land grab. They will push everyone out of Gaza. That's what I think is going to happen. And I've been saying that from the beginning, and it looks like that's what's going to happen. I will say, I put out a post earlier a few days ago or yesterday or whatever, saying that I was disappointed in myself when I ran for office because I was self-censoring around that issue because I was running for state office, California. That issue, the way I was looking at it, I knew that a lot of people that support me don't agree with me on that issue, and it wasn't really a California issue, and it could only hurt me if I brought it up. I was wrong. I should have been talking about it the whole time. I don't care if people agree with me. I'm going to say what I think regarding that war, and I think what Israel is doing is atrocious. It's war crimes, it's genocide, and I think what they're doing is absolutely horrific. And whether you agree with me or not, if you consider yourself America first, we should not be funding Israel. All money should stop, all of it, to them. But AIPAC has bought and paid for our government. They've bought and paid for so many politicians, and they're going to vote in whatever way AIPAC tells them to. It's quite obvious. In my episode, The All-Seeing Eye, I get really into that with Mike Gallagher. Mike Gallagher, the guy that brought the TikTok bill, TikTok, the platform that all the young people are using, and all the young people are strongly disagreeing with what Israel's doing. Well, now all of a sudden, after Jonathan Greenblatt comes out and his leaked audio says we need to control the narrative for people under 30 because this is a generational issue. It's not a left and a right issue. We need to control that narrative. That comes out. That was from December. And then all of a sudden, Mike Gallagher, who gets tons of funding from Palantir and AIPAC, decides he's going to introduce this TikTok bill. It gets introduced. It's probably going to pass. And Steve Mnuchin says, hey, I'm putting together a team of people to buy it. So it looks like somebody that was Mike Gallagher, pushed by Israel to bring about the TikTok bill. Looks like it's going to pass. And then he announces that he's stepping down on a date that won't allow them to replace him. And where's he going? Where's he going after he steps down? Palantir. Oh, how freaking weird. I wonder if Peter Thiel is going to be on Steve Mnuchin's team. Anyway, sorry, that was a little tangent that I had to go off on there. All right, so 12-hour recap from Mario Narwhals. America has hit a historic 15.5% immigration population ratio with a 37% spike in illegal immigrants. That's a lot. That's a lot. Estonia, we must double our defense and prepare for war with Russia. We understand that Russia will remain a threat. Kiev turns to NATO for urgent air defense supplies following devastating Russian strikes on its infrastructure. Mayor of Baltimore, I know, and this is a quote from the mayor of Baltimore, I know young black men have been the boogeyman for those that are racist and think only straight white wealthy men should have any say in anything. And what they mean by DEI, in my opinion, they just don't have the courage to say the N-word. Okay, he left something out there. I'll play that video. FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried has been sentenced to 25 years in prison for defrauding the crypto exchange customers and investors. New York City Mayor Adams wants to turn subways into airports. Mayor Adams, we are taking the next step forward in the ongoing efforts to make our subways even safer and to ensure New Yorkers feel safe. So yeah, they're checking people like TSA. Okay. Pope Francis washed, kissed, and blessed feet in women's prison as part of Holy Week tradition leading into Easter. The Vatican is out of control as well. Russian warships enter the Red Sea. At least 2 ships from Russia's Pacific Fleet have entered the Red Sea to carry out assigned tasks within the framework of a long-range sea campaign. The bus carrying pilgrims to a religious gathering when it plunged off a bridge near Mamalakala in the province of Limpopo, killing 45 people. Biden and Obama head to a fundraiser in New York with Lizzo. Meanwhile, Trump goes to an NYPD officer's funeral in Long Island, New York. And I guess Lizzo's quitting, is what she says. I'm not sure if I believe that, but, I kind of do feel bad for you guys. I don't like people getting made fun of if they're fat, but I also don't like the fat positivity movement because that goes against everything I believe in health. White House blames ISIS-K for Moscow attack. Kamala Harris, we know by all accounts that ISIS-K is responsible for what happened, even though they haven't done anything in 10 years, and we created them. Most Americans don't support Israel's offense in Gaza. A Gallup poll shows support for Israel's offensive in Gaza fell from 50% to 36% in only 4 months. Yeah, because we can all see what's happening over there. All right, keep going. Play some videos. So this is the mayor of Massachusetts. Is that who it is? Who is this guy again? Mayor of Baltimore. Sorry, mayor of Massachusetts. Yeah, sorry. All right, let's see what he has to say here.
Allow you, Mayor Scott, if you choose to do so, to respond to the tomfoolery and attacks on you for having the nerve to be Black and also a mayor.
Well, it's not that he's Black and a mayor. It's just like, you're really young, dude. I mean, really young. And the whole DEI initiative, it's not just about Black people. It's the hierarchy of victimhood. It's about Black people, trans people. There's a totem. It's like a totem pole of if you're a Black woman trans who is missing a leg, oh, you got it made. Like you are at the high part of the victimhood totem pole. And yeah, so saying DEI is racist, it's like, wait a minute, hold on. Are you forgetting that DEI is all of the crap? It's everything except white Christian males. Like you're at the very bottom. If you're a straight white Christian male, you are not getting the job.
Well, I think, listen, I know, and we all know, and you know very well, that Black men and young Black men in particular have been the boogeyman for those who are racist and think that only straight, wealthy white men should have a say in anything. We've been the boogeyman from them since the first day they brought us to this country. And what they mean by DEI, in my opinion, is duly elected incumbent. We know what they want to say, but they don't have the courage to say the N-word. And the fact that I don't believe in their untruthful and wrong ideology, and I am very proud of it.
All right. Are you going to say that skin color didn't play any factor at all? Well, I mean, you get elected, so I don't know. But Ketanji Brown Jackson, Joe Biden straight up says, I'm hiring a Black woman. I mean, that's race and sex criteria right there. That's what DEI is. It's okay. And I'm not saying like it might be a great mayor, might be really smart, might be brilliant. He might be the right person for the job. But that's what sucks about all this DEI stuff is anybody that is Black, a female, trans, whatever, they're immediately going to be accused of being a diversity hire because of this DEI initiative that is actively taking place in every institution across the country. It takes away from people that got to where they are based purely on meritocracy, because meritocracy is dead.
proud of my heritage and who I am and where I come from scares them, because me being at my position means that their way of thinking, their way of life of being comfortable and suffering, and while everyone else suffers, is going to be at risk. And they should be afraid, because that's my purpose in life.
And by the way, you know, the coded
so
racism,
right
before
there
we even
is going to be at risk, and they should be afraid, because that's that their way of thinking, their way of life of being comfortable and suffering, and while everyone else suffers, is going to be at risk, and they should be afraid, because that's my purpose in life.
Okay, so a lot of people are really jumping on that part there, and they're jumping on it, saying basically like his purpose in life is to take down the white man. That's not what I got from that. I feel like he could have worded that better, but yeah, a lot of people are jumping on that last thing that he said there.
And by the way, you know, the coded racism, before we even knew the nationalities of the men, Maria Bartiromo was out there talking about open borders and trying to somehow signal that they wanted to go after the brown people too, because of course that is their other target. We know that the men who were doing this hard construction work overnight, trying to fix the potholes on this bridge, working very hard, were Latino. And so that's now on the table too. We know that this ship, which came from Singapore, was piloted by a very heroic crew from India, whose Mayday call saved lives, not maybe saved lives, but did. So this is a full-throated attack. But this is also what America is. It is people of multiple races.
What I want to know, and it's a fair question to ask, were the men on the bridge, and it's horrible that they died. Wherever they're from, whatever their background is, it's horrible that they died. And yes, they were doing hard work. That's nobody's arguing that. But what I would like to know is, were they in this country illegally? Because as I pointed out with tons of California stuff, you can be an illegal immigrant in California and work legally. You can get pretty much any job you want. Get a driver's license. You can become a cop in California. And a lot of people will push back and say, no, that's not how the bill that Skinner put forward and San Francisco is now put into place, stating that you do not need to be a United States citizen in order to become a police officer. Well, if you look at other bills, it shows that you can be legally allowed to work in California if you are an illegal immigrant. So when you put those two bills together, yes, you can be an illegal immigrant and become a cop in California. That is true. Fact check me on it. It's not just in one bill. You have to see how all these different bills work together. Anyway, so that would be my question, would be were the guys on the bridge, I mean, not that it's like, you know, should they have been legally allowed to work here, then Americans would have died instead. That's not the point that I'm making. The point is, how many jobs are being taken away from Americans? How many Americans are on unemployment or whatever because they can't get work because an illegal immigrant is easier to hire? Maybe you don't got to pay them as much, and maybe it's easier to push them around because they don't understand their protections. They don't understand their laws. They don't have as much recourse if they, as you know, a union member, someone like that, or somebody that knows the labor laws in California. So that would be my question, would be, were those guys legally allowed to work here? Not that, that's sort of a completely different subject though.
Who do the
all right, well, that's it on this video. There's 4 other videos that I'm gonna so it's just, you know, the Pope watching feet, Trump going to a funeral, Biden doing a fundraiser, and then Eric Adams saying that we're basically turning New York City subways into TSA style airports. All right, let's keep going here. So we just saw that Russia has 2 ships in the Red Sea now. Well, look what America is deciding to do. This is terrifying. This is an escalation right here. Everything is escalating all over the place. Everything is escalating. So if you guys haven't seen this yet, this is terrifying to me. This is a huge show of force that apparently we're about to do.
We today announced the kickoff of Exercise Steadfast Defender 2024, which commences next week and runs through May. Steadfast Defender 24 will be the largest NATO exercise in decades, with participation from approximately 90,000 forces from all 31 allies, plus our good partner, Sweden. The alliance will demonstrate its ability to reinforce the Euro-Atlantic area via transatlantic movement of forces from North America. This reinforcement will occur during a simulated emerging conflict scenario.
Simulated emerging conflict scenario. Conflicts are emerging all over the place, and this doesn't seem too simulated. Simulated.
Against a near-peer adversary. Steadfast Defender 24 will be a clear demonstration of our unity, our strength, and our determination to protect each other.
He just says it right there. Steadfast whatever is a show of force against Russia. That's what this is. They're trying to show Russia how big and bad we are with NATO.
To protect, of course, our values and the rules-based international order. We today announced.
Not good, folks. This is not good. I don't like this at all. Not one freaking bit. All right, let's keep going here. Check in with the chat. Symbolic T, DEI means didn't earn it. Basically, I had no idea BS could wear a purple hoodie. Be nice. Be nice, Eric. All right, let's keep going here. Let's go over to Nick Hinton on X. So, all right, it's not tinfoily. This is because they are going to fire up the Large Hadron Collider at CERN again. They are going to do that. That is a thing, and they're set to do it on April the 8th. Why are they doing it during the eclipse? Like, why are you doing it during the eclipse? Are you just trying to freak everyone out? Because you're freaking me out. I don't like it at all. All right, so he says, why is CERN being reactivated on April the 8th, the same day as the infamous eclipse? Supposedly, the particle collider can now accelerate protons to a rate that's only 7 miles per hour slower than the speed of light, resulting in 11,000 trips around the ring per second. After CERN started its Awake experiment in 2016, conspiracy theorists were convinced CERN was opening a portal in the sky when photos taken near the facility revealed strange electromagnetic storms above it. Is this real, you guys? Is this picture real? If it is, I don't like it. Is this real? Do you guys know how big the Large Hadron Collider is? And it's underground. I think it's under France, right? Or more than just France. It's huge. It's this big ring underground where they shoot particles in opposing directions and they just spin them around in circles until they hit each other. And they're hoping that they can create like a new element, like gray matter or something. It's freaking terrifying. If this picture's real, it's like, what are you guys doing? I think this is how we got Godzilla. It's, what are you guys doing? And why are you doing it on the day of the eclipse? So slowly at CERN in Geneva, the Large Hadron Collider particle accelerator is coming out of its regular hibernation again. Progress can be followed live on a CERN webpage. I'm probably going to have to watch that. Late last week, for the first time since the annual winter shutdown, a first beam of proton briefly went around the accelerator's 27-kilometer circle at a full 6.8 TeV energy. The first collisions of proton beams are expected on April the 8th, when all tests and fine-tuning of the machine are over. Then the large CERN experiments involving colliding protons can resume in their measurement program. You guys, it's like they don't know what's going to happen when some of these protons run into each other. Like, that's what this experiment is. It's just, let's just see what happens. Let's just shoot them at each other and see what happens. This stuff's terrifying to me. They have, if you guys Bay Area people, you know, at Stanford, they got the linear accelerator where they do the same thing. It's just straight. And I'm sure the speeds aren't the same amount, but I mean, if you guys have driven 280 towards Sand Hill Road from San Jose to Palo Alto or San Francisco or whatever, you've driven right over it. You've driven right over the linear accelerator. It's that big, long, it looks like a bunch of storage containers connected to each other. It looks like a big, long shed. It's like 2.2 miles long, I think. It's, the linear accelerator. That thing's there. Okay. Keep going. Freaking me out, guys. They are freaking me out. And okay, so this is also from Nick Hinton. And there's a community note on this one. Oh, wait, what? What the heck? The community note just disappeared. What the heck? It disappeared right in front of me. It was there and then it wasn't. I read the community note before the show started, and now it disappeared. Okay, that just happened, like live right in front of me right now. There was a community note on this. Oh, I wasn't sharing it with you, but the community note just disappeared right in front of my face. Okay. From Nick Hinton, according to scientists at CERN, a mysterious entity was detected inside their particle collider. Physicists claim, you know what? I have a friend who's a physicist. During my election, I met somebody that really great guy. It's Mike Hogan. He, for some reason, he likes me and he invites me to do speaking events and stuff like that. I don't know why he likes me. I don't know why he thinks I'm smart. I'm freaking retarded, but he likes me, but he's a physicist. I should ask him about CERN. Anyway, sorry, that just popped into my brain. Physicists claim they have captured and calculated the characteristics of a ghost-like structure, an invisible entity that can alter the paths of particles. Are they opening up wormholes to parallel dimensions, you guys? You guys remember the show Sliders? Remember that? Jared O'Connell back in the 90s. I think it came on before the X-Files or after the X-Files. Can't remember. Great show. I loved that show when I was a kid. At Lawrence Livermore. They have another accelerator at Lawrence Livermore? I didn't know that. My buddy works there. I have a friend that works at Lawrence Livermore. Eric, what are you laughing at? You making fun of me? Switzerland friend. I don't know what you mean by that either. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know about the one at Lawrence Livermore, but apparently there's been like UFO sightings above Lawrence Livermore, but I don't know. I think Eric or Scott Adams, I think he lives out near there. I wonder if he knows. Yeah, okay, let's keep going here. Let's go over to Chaya here. Chaya or Shia? I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Shia. So you guys remember the Nex kid, the kid that was the trans kid that got in a fight, got beat up, and they said that they got beat up from the fight? Well, not only did that end up not being true, the fight wasn't even that bad. Apparently, the kid started it, and the kid committed suicide later. And they were blaming Chaya for like the kid's death. They're blaming her for it. Chaya Reshik. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. We follow each other though. It's made me kind of happy. Yeah, Chaya is Libs of TikTok. She's the one that created Libs of TikTok, and she got blamed for all of this stuff. And so she says here, Nex's father raped her and misled her for years. He was arrested again 2 weeks before she overdosed. Washington Post knew this information and still blamed me. So this is from Red State. This is a screenshot from redstate.com. So it says, as usual in these cases, there was much more to the story. A hint was provided by Washington Post on February 21st, 2004, that never made it beyond the report, describing Dagny's funeral. Oh, is that the name of Nex? Real name Dagny? Are you serious? They're a Atlas Shrugged fan? Dude. Okay, describing Dagny's death at the funeral, the article states that Dagny's cousin spoke along with her mother and Benedict, Nex's biological mother. Okay, who's Dagny then? Nex's biological mother was among the mourners. Their father, who is in prison for abuse, was not. That last detail may have been more impactful than realized. Scarlett, what'd you do? What'd you do? On July 17, 2019, when Dagny was 11 years old, an arrest warrant was issued for James Everett Hughes, Dagny's father. He was arrested on July 31st, 2019 in Sebastian County, Arkansas, right? Not Arizona, Arkansas. The charge was for rape of a minor under the age of 14 during the time period between May 2017 and August 2017, when Dagny was 9 years old. Among many witnesses, Sue Benedict, the grandmother who would adopt Dagny in 2019. So that whole entire story was a lie. So, okay. So, yep, that happened. All right, let's go over to Kiki here on X. Well, we already talked about that. That's Sam Bankman-Fried. He got 25 years. It's kind of crazy. I thought he was going to get off scot-free, Sam Bankman-Fried, but he didn't. Okay, so this is slightly concerning. This will probably be, this will be the last segment here. Yeah, it's definitely going to be the last segment because I got the article pulled up about the guy that decapitated his dad's head and then like went to a base, but I'm not going to read it. Maybe I'll leave that for tomorrow. See if I can actually get demonetized when I read it. So, all right. This is from Wall Street Apes, and he says, "Wow, while we were all busy watching the horrors of the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse, this story was buried in the news. SWIFT is planning on launching a new central bank digital currency platform in 12 to 24 months. What are the odds this press release happens on the same day? SWIFT is planning a new platform in the next 2 months. In the next 2 years to connect the wave of central bank digital currencies now in development to existing finance systems. It has told Reuters. We are looking at a roadmap to productize. I didn't know that was a word. We're looking at a roadmap to productize, launch as a product in the next 12 to 24 months. Kiergan said in an interview, it is moving out of experimental stage towards something that is becoming reality. So what are central bank digital currencies? It's not like a cryptocurrency. It's not like digital dollars. We already kind of use digital dollars, right? You transfer, send money and stuff using Cash App, all that kind of stuff. It's just numbers, right? It's like you're not holding the physical cash. That's not what central bank digital currencies are. They're similar, but they are completely under the control of the central bank. And they can essentially be turned on or off. I mean, right now you could be locked out of your bank account, but you could always go withdraw cash beforehand before they lock you out of your account or whatever. Central bank digital currencies, it's where from my understanding, they want to get rid of cash altogether and make all of it completely digital. And there's speculation that if you say the wrong thing online, it's speculation that it'll be tied in with like a social credit score, like they talk about in China, which I'm hearing things that whole social credit score thing isn't working in China. There's like massive revolt. I see people just pushing back against this heavily, but I don't know. 80% of the population took the vaccine, so who knows? But yeah, central bank digital currencies in conjunction with some sort of social credit score are things nightmares are made of. So let's watch this video. This is a bit of a longer video, so I'm going to play the whole thing though. So it's like 6 minutes. All right, let's go.
While we were all busy watching the horrors of the Key Bridge collapse, this story was buried in the news. This is the most important thing that is going to hit every single person on the planet in the next 12 to 24 months is the time frame is put right there in the title. This is an article from Reuters. It came out on March 26th. Let me explain to you.
It's from Reuters, guys. It's an article from Reuters.
As quickly as I can.
It's like the cousin of Hooters, but Reuters? That was a bad joke.
What this means for you. So basically, a central bank digital currency is not the digital dollars that you operate in today. It really has nothing in common except that it's going to enable you to buy things at the store and send money to one another. The important thing is how. How is it going to work? So what they're planning here, the trick is that it is programmable money that is entirely centralized, and it is going to be controlled 100% by your federal government. You will not have a bank that you go into necessarily, or if you do, the bank is actually going to be representative of the federal government, and the bank would just be nothing but a false storefront. And so the challenge here, in that it's programmable money, it means that they can turn it off, shut it down at will if they don't like what you posted, what you tweeted, what you said, what you did, or basically they don't like the look of the nose on your face. And who is they? Well, it's anybody that works inside the government who to you would more often than not be faceless and nameless. And so the challenge, of course, is that if they were to shut you out of your account or deny you reasonable access to your funds when you wanted it and for the purposes that you wanted it, then you're not going to be left with any recourse, because generally speaking, there's this legal rule that the government is immune from lawsuits from private citizens, that there has to be written into the law a private right of action for you to have the permission to be able to go in and enforce your rights against the government. And
it's going to, if they actually succeed with this, it's going to create a two-tiered society. It's going to create a black market where people are like, okay, if they make it so you can only buy and sell stuff with digital currency, then there's going to be people that say, screw this. And if there's no cash left, we're going to be going back to coins and ammo or just the good old bartering system. It's going to be, it's not going to be pleasant. It's a lot of people will be forced to comply with this. And how do you get paid? How does your job pay you? Digital currency. And you can't just take the money out. It's so many problems with this. This could go very bad.
A lot of government agencies, and especially law enforcement, well, they've got immunity for the behavior unless it is specifically written into the code. And so this is a major problem. So we're seeing this in central bank digital currencies that are being issued in various jurisdictions around the world, the most notable of which would be the Chinese social credit system. And so if you do not behave, they'll be able to shut you out of your account, lock you out of your account, and deny you access to your funds. And I see that we're headed in this direction anyway. You know, I do kind of lean towards the conspiracy theories, and I do see how Congress is intentionally spinning us into a situation of hyperinflation, which means you're going to continue to pay more for your goods and services, because the money that Congress is churning out of the banking system is not making it into your pockets. It's making it straight into the pockets of the elite and the corporate fat cats, who are enjoying bigger profits than they ever have, and they're enjoying it at the lowest wages comparably than we have seen in this nation for half a century. And so all of the cards are stacked against you. We see that the interest rates are sky high, that the cost of housing is through the roof, and that the only folks that can afford it are the big venture capital companies that are buying up these properties left and right, holding on to them, and then renting them back to you. And so what the plan is, of course, here is, if I'm right, and what I foresee is happening is, and I've unfortunately been on the money for the past 8 years since I launched into the study of cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and fintech. But basically, the plan is to spin us into a hyperinflation, put us into a position as a people to where we are begging for some sort of relief. They're going to come in with this central bank digital currency and say that this is going to be our savior, because they're going to argue that it's de-inflationary, but it's actually not.
Only way that would work is if they said that they're putting in some sort of price controls. So, yeah, I'm curious how she thinks that would work.
And then at that same time, I anticipate they're going to roll out or reinstate many of the features of artificial intelligence, commercially available tools that we saw back in November, December, and January of this year.
So to sort of illustrate how this could work, remember old Twitter, how you would all of a sudden just get an account suspension? I mean, it happens still, where you get an account suspension, you'd have no recourse. It was just like, you said the wrong thing, your account is suspended, you're locked out for 6 days. Well, imagine that happening with your money. You've been a bad boy, you can't spend money for 6 days, and you're like, I have no food, I can't feed my dogs. I'm just thinking from my own perspective here. I mean, imagine that your money gets turned off for 6 days, or they just said you are no longer allowed to use digital currency, you no longer have access to your money. But then, I mean, if that happened, people would stop going to work. Like, if your work can only pay you in digital money, you're going to call your boss and be like, yeah, I can't get to work, I don't have a car. I guess then you get fired, right? But there's so many problems with this and so many ways that people could revolt. I don't see how they could possibly make this work. They could try it, but this is how you get people dumping tea in the ocean, if you know what I mean.
November, December of last year, which would have been 2023, January, February of this year. I've noticed in the past 2 to 3 months that the functionality of these commercially available tools for ChatGPT-4, Claude, Google's Bard / Gemini, they changed the name, right, are in the crapper. They have put so many guardrails on it that it's just essentially unusable. I can't get it to do anything, and neither can anybody else that I know. It's like pulling teeth. It's incredibly lazy. It refuses. It says that it can't do it. It won't answer the question asked, right? And so it's regressed substantially, but definitely it has not regressed in the lab. So it's only regressed from the perspective of our perspective and using it as a tool. And so basically, as AI is rolled out in big corporate America, our jobs are eliminated. We're suffering from hyperinflation, and we're going to be positioned into a position of desperation. And they're going to roll this out, and they're going to say, this is your chance, right? This is going to be the new financial system. And it's very, very dangerous for all of the aforementioned reasons, because it's going to put you in a position of being controlled and manipulated by a bunch of nameless, faceless drones that you cannot identify, that work behind like some sort of curtain, and you don't really know who's pulling the strings, and you don't necessarily automatically have the rights to enforce, right, your ownership over your funds when you need them and for the purposes that you need them. And so they told us that this is what they were going to do. The World Economic Forum told us that this is what their plan was, is that we're going to own nothing and be happy. And I see how they're maneuvering us, and they're going to put us into this position that when we're ousted by the introduction of like actual functioning artificial intelligence, we're going to be ousted out of our jobs. We're going to be offered universal basic income, and to participate, this is what we're going to have to participate in. So we can talk about this. We can talk about private rights of actions. We can talk about, the arguments in favor of central bank digital currencies, that it's allegedly going to resolve all of the problems with crime and human trafficking and money laundering and terrorist financing, and why it is that I think that is a bunch of baloney, right? It is lipstick on a pig. So tell me what it is that you want to talk about next. Drop it into the comments, and let's get this conversation going.
I think I'm going to get on TikTok, guys. Mainly because there's so many little there's so like bills that I come across, like crazy bills that California puts out that I kind of would just like to throw the text up on a virtual screen behind me and talk about the bill. It'd be really easy to do. I'm not on TikTok, and I think I'm gonna get on TikTok. Sorry, just saying. Pretty sure I'm gonna get on TikTok. All right, you know what? That's all I got. That's all I got for the evening, guys. The RGS, Northside, Casey Martin, Terry Wallace, Eric, let's see, Mental Health, Symbolic T, Wally World, Sunshine Daydream. All you guys, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Orla, what else we got? All right, bunch of you guys. Thank you so much for being here. It's always much appreciated. Yeah, Miss Cakes, nice to see you. Thank you guys all for hanging out. I will be starting work next week. I was supposed to start on Monday, but there's a major snafu with that. I'm not going to get too much into it, but major snafu. Hopefully I will be starting next week, but if I do, that means the podcast is going to change. I am going to be doing it. I think I've decided I'm going to do it on Friday and Saturday nights. I'm probably going to move it back, the time window. I'm probably going to start at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It'll give me much more time to prepare the show. If I'm getting off later, I still got to get my runs in. I still have to run. Like my running is the backbone of everything that I do. If I don't run, I get stressed out. I become less functional. It's just, and I start to get fat. Running is the backbone of everything I do. I always feel better mentally and physically after I'm done running, unless I busted my knee or rolled my ankle or something, but that's aside from the point. So if, I got my career back, I think, and I'm going to keep running, which means I got to push the show back. I'm not going to be able to do it every night. I think I decided what I'm going to do is probably Friday and Saturday nights. I'll be doing a show Friday and Saturday nights, not on Sunday, because I don't want to be doing, but those are going to be the days that I for sure will do a show. But I might just say I'll be doing sporadic shows as well. I might just there's something I need to talk about. I'm doing a show tonight, but Friday and Saturdays will be the nights that for sure I'm doing a show. Everything else will be kind of shooting from the hip. So that's my rough plan for right now. But tomorrow night I will be back at 6:30. I'll be doing another show tomorrow night. I hope to have all you guys there. And if you're still here, hit that like button, tell a friend, follow me on Twitter, subscribe, repost on Twitter. All that stuff greatly helps. Yeah, I like doing this. This is fun. I like hanging out with you guys. I like talking about stuff. And yeah, so I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and then got 136 episodes done now. And I feel like I get a little bit better each show, even though I'm kind of dumb. But all right. Yeah, Sunshine Daydream. Yeah, I couldn't. Absolutely. There was no way I was going to quit doing this show. I really like doing this. And in reality, if it keeps growing, because it does, it kind of grows every show a little bit. And if it keeps going, well, maybe someday this will just be all I do. This will be my career, this show, and doing other, maybe TikTok, going to other platforms, getting the audio only over on Spotify, and all the other things. I need to open up a merch store, my website, all that stuff that I'm working on. So who knows where this goes? But for now, I'm just doing it because I like doing it, and I like you guys, and I like talking about current events and things and stuff. All right. Well, that is all I got for tonight, but you know how we do it. Before we get out of here, we got to tell a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. Let's see. What do we have tonight? What joke do we have tonight? Let's see. All right. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Chuck Norris joke of the evening. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I will see you tomorrow night at 6:30. All right, here it is. Chuck Norris joke of the evening. Chuck Norris was supposed to be the next face on Mount Rushmore. Unfortunately, granite is not hard enough material to replicate Chuck Norris's beard. And on that note, stay CaliBased. Ooh, that was a good pop.